Let's get this party started. All right, everybody. We are here. Me singing horrible riffs, and I got a stellar panel here. We're going to introduce everybody and just get into this riveting day of just crazy, out of nowhere, disappointing, whatever you want to call it, news today. But first and foremost, let me introduce our week to week panel. First and foremost, my good friend Eddie Player One. How are you doing today, Eddie?
What's it going, man? What's it going, panel? It's going to be a good one, man. I have some vibes on this.
Absolutely. And my co-host of SML Podcast Weekly, y'all know the deal, the homie, Project Storm. What's going on, Storm?
Man, it's not about me, man. We got Chase and Clive in the house. You know what I'm saying? That's who it's about today. But everybody, what's going on? There's a lot of news out here. I was playing some Serious Sam 4 when all of a sudden I got hit with some crazy stuff. But we'll get into that later. What's going down?
Absolutely. See, they didn't even recognize them. They don't know who they are, Storm. See, you ruined the surprise. No. And as Storm alluded, we got some special guests today. First, let's introduce Mr. Stadia Talk. Chase, what's going on, Chase? How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just honored to be in the company of Clive. He looks amazing today. He is looking like such a stand-up individual. I don't even know if I deserve to be on this panel right now. Look at I'm doing good there, and panel. I'm doing good in chat.
Yes, and the man flexing right there, right, is our good friend. It's long overdue. Glad to have his return. Our buddy Clive, aka Lord. And you know I always butcher this, Clive, because I'm old.
You do.
Lord Kensel.
Lord Kensal.
Okay, I was close.
Indeed. It's an honor. It's an honor. Glad to be here with this
long overdue
panel.
For you to come back. Definitely.
It's masterclass of punditry.
What is up, everybody? The chat is already, they're already excited. Kenny G, Trizza Rector, DKS Stadia, Ray Sherrod, you better be calm today. You better be good. Brian Brown, Ralph Haley. Who else we got up in here? Wolock, what's going on, Wolock? And the good homie Ashes to Ashes. He was first. He beat out Alakazam. Oh, man. All right. Let's get into it. Do us a huge favor before we get into that. Before we get into the news, and there is something that I do got to bring up briefly. But before we get into all that, hey, everybody, just share this out. Let everybody know that we're live. This is going to be a phenomenal show. This is going to be so phenomenal. I don't even know, Storm and Eddie, if we're going to be able to do an after show because we're going to take up the whole 2 hours. And I got to go shopping with the wife. She's told me that or you guys will never see me again except on the back of a milk carton. That's what she told me. So, all right, let's get into the news. Oh, no. Before we get into the news, I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I'm all over the place. Let's we introduce the panel. Let me go into the Pnts network updates. Again, please check out SML Podcast every Saturday. It comes on right after our good friend Chase's show, Stadia Talk. Hashtag Stadia Saturdays will never be the same. Something like that, right, Chase?
Yeah, Saturdays will never be the same, and Stadia Saturday Evolution, man.
Yeah. Exactly. It's Stadia Saturday Evolution. The best 4 hours of your life on that Saturday. So definitely check it out. Tune into Stadia Talk and tune into my channel when it's on my channel, and check out Project Storm's channel when it's on Storm's channel. All of our links, including Eddie's links, are there as well. All right, something real quick. Scram Punks. As you know, that is one of the Pnts affiliate shows that I help co-create and that I used to be on weekly. I am no longer on that show. I have Patreon content coming later today. No, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. That goes into detail of everything. It was a good dissolvement. It wasn't nothing like bad or anything like that. It was just direction based. But I wanted to clear up one thing because I didn't want this negative energy out there. Something was referenced that, things started to change because of an issue I had with one of the panel members. No, I have no issues with any of the panel members there. I love them all. I wanted to see them all succeed. We may not have always seen eye to eye on stuff. And in one particular instance, I told somebody something that happened. They didn't like what I had to say, and they didn't want to be on the show with me anymore. There's nothing I can control. So I just don't want that bad energy out there. I wish them all the best. WBG is killing it out here. We want them to continue to do well. And we don't know what Dirt is going to come back with as far as if he's still going to be a PNTS affiliate or what he's going to do, but whatever he's going to do is going to be fantastic. So definitely check out Dirk Griggity's channel over there on YouTube. Now that we got that all out of the way, let's do this first before we get into the news. Clive, I'm going to start with you. What have you been playing recently, my friend?
Well, interesting enough, I've been playing Halo Combat Evolved.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to play something for the generation. This was started about a week and a half ago. I wanted to play something for the Generation X Gaming Club, and I wanted a retro game. So I thought, well, it's on there. It's on the Games Pass. I was playing it direct. I wasn't playing it in the cloud. But so I thought I'll go back to it because I had fond memories of the original launch of Halo for the original Xbox back in the day. And although it's the sort of slightly remastered version, it stands up pretty well. It's still a good game,
cool.
So yeah, I've been playing that, and I saw I think Project was playing Doom, so I was inspired to go back to Doom Eternal, which I'd sort of left, as it were, just because it was looking so fine. So so I've been playing a bit of Halo, a bit of Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Hey, Clyde, real quick, man. One thing I noticed, I'm glad you brought that up because I never got an opportunity. I was so into the stream when you came in, I didn't even realize, and I overlooked the fact that you were there, man. I was like, damn, I miss Clive, man. I was all into it, and I'm glad that you showed up for that one.
I felt ignored.
Oh no, man. Hey, look, you saw me
joking.
into it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
You were into it. You were like gobsmacked by how amazing it looked.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Chase, my good friend Chase, what have you been playing?
Let me think. A lot of pub, Uno, and then I'm always on my one game consistently, and that's Rogue Company. So I consistently play that at least every other night. And I played that last night. I actually did a live stream of it. So those are the only three I've been playing right now, though.
Okay, cool. Storm, what you been playing, my good friend?
Oh man, every damn thing. I mean, Forza, Flight Simulator, PUBG, man, just so many games, man. Call of Duty, the alpha that recently dropped that Chase put me down with. Man, you don't even want to Hyperscape. The list goes on and on and on and on and on, man. I mean, I'm out here testing games on a frequent basis. So just a mixture of everything, to be honest with you.
Okay, gotcha. And lastly, Eddie, what have you been playing, my good friend?
My friend, this last week has kind of been slow for me on games, but I had the chance to pick up a little bit on the crew. Decided to finish some stuff that I had started there. Whenever I had 5 minutes, I would jump over a Bomberman match or Fall Guys. I played like 1 hour of Fall Guys. But one game that I played last week that I had a lot of fun playing, I need to get back to that. I played with Chase. We played Among Us. It was a very cool experience. We played last
Totally forgot
weekend.
about that.
And it was very cool. We played for about 2 hours, and it was very fun.
Awesome. I have been playing a little bit of Division, a whole lot. Division 2, that is, and Division 2 is on free weekend. We're going to talk about that if we get time later on today, later in the show, excuse me. And then I've been playing a lot of PGA 2K21, gearing up for my rematch with Eddie. I did a 6 under last night. I'm proud of myself, and I played some Serious Sam 4 today. And
So did I. But do we have to?
I saw some of that. Yeah.
Do we have to get into it?
We'll get into that later. I ain't gonna talk about it right now.
All right.
Yo, man, before we get into that, you gotta tell me the courses you are playing lately on PGA Tour and the settings you are playing, because I want to play with somebody or play a ghost with somebody, but I don't know the difficult settings people are playing. So I wanna, since we could get together to play it again, at least I need to know you're a ghost.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. I'm playing some of the more challenging
Nice.
courses.
We'll talk later on that.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, Louise. And So playing my ghost will probably be a good thing. All right. So, all right, people, let's do it, man. Let's do the damn thing. Let's talk about it. Jesus. And thanks to Clive for giving us this, because I was, while you guys were giving your games out, I was reading through there. So let me see. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Bada boom, bada bing. Like so. Okay. Luna. This is Amazon's cloud gaming service. This news just broke literally like what, an hour ago or something like that at the most. It's crazy. So basically what's going on is Amazon now has their game subscription service. What we do know is that it's going to be web-based. It's basically web-based. And because it's web-based, one of the platforms that it's coming to, it was able to avoid all this hoopla that xCloud and Stadia is going through, which is not being able to be on iOS. So this is going to launch on iOS devices, which is crazy. And smart of Amazon as well. We also know that there's a $5.99 price tag to access Luna Plus, and that they're also going to operate in channels. How Luna is going to operate as channels. The first channel will be the Luna Plus channel. There's, I guess, going to be a Luna base channel, and then there's going to be an Ubisoft channel, which is going to be the equivalent, as it appears, to Uplay Plus. Here's what we don't know, or maybe someone does know, and they can clear this up for me and the rest of the panel in the chat and everybody that's watching. What we don't know is, does that $5.99 give you access to every game in the channel, or do you still have to buy things separately? Like the whole pricing structure is.
Yeah. So I think what they're going to do is that there will be some stuff that's within it, you know, and then you buy the additional channels. So a bit similar to on Amazon Prime, you can pay for additional actual channels. So I mean, presumably the same in the US, but you can pay for like the tennis channel or some other channels. So you get, on top of your Amazon Prime subscription, you pay for these other channels and curated channels. And I think that's what they're planning to do. So some of them will be within I imagine the standard Luna subscription, and others would be like, you know, you'll pay for the Ubisoft channel, or you'll pay separately for the EA Play channel, or whatever. And that, I think that's how they're gearing themselves up, as much as a platform upon which, you know, the big publishers can kind of launch channels, as it were, via them.
So I'm looking at this paragraph right here, and this is, they were talking about the competition, and then they get to Luna and they say, and then there's Luna. Twitch integration and Luna controller are solid selling points, but if Amazon can't keep the library fresh and affordable, then players won't have a reason to subscribe. And then there was another paragraph that talked about what the business model may be.
Yeah, they quote that they're basically using the Amazon Prime existing model. Of having a genre-based channels, of having channels, additional channels that you pay for on top. So there will be a set of, so there'll be a set of games. Okay. And then you can pay for extra channels, which will no doubt have other games.
Okay, so $5.99. So the introductory price of $5.99 gives me access to their 100 games.
Well, we don't know yet. Well, at the moment, obviously the $5.99 is the early access.
Yeah.
So how it shakes out in the end.
And also on the article, it says, I think there will be about 50 titles or so in our Luna Plus channel and about 50 on the Ubisoft channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Okay. So that's what makes up the 100, is that there's 50 with the Luna Plus, 50 with the Uplay Plus. Interesting. Okay. So that kind of streamlines it, because here's my thoughts, and anybody, whoever wants to hop on this, feel free to do so. My thing is that this is great for competition. Does this ultimately smother Stadia, like some of the murmurings that I'm hearing? And I'm not just saying this just to remain positive. I want to say not off of what we know. You know what I mean? Like it depends on what the price is going to be after early access, right? What is the quality of games that are going to be there? Like, what's the price of you play. There's a whole bunch of factors into this because it's not necessarily that an all-in-one Netflix or Game Pass model is suiting for every gamer. Some people want to just own the license or have access to the license, whether they're paying a subscription or not. Like there was a Stadia advert, we'll talk about this later, where they talk about, hey, you can buy Phoenix Immortal Rising, or Immortals Phoenix Rising rather, and to just buy the game and never pay anything else a month. And some people may prefer that. So there's more that has to come, I think, in order for us to determine what smothers what. But off of what we do know, who wants to grab this first? What are your initial thoughts on this in the gaming stratosphere? Chase and I have always talked about the line in the Serengeti. Is this it? Who wants to take that?
All right. Oh, go ahead.
Project.
Go Chase or whoever, man. Go ahead, because to me, it's the cub. It's not a lion yet. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
I don't know that I agree with that necessarily, but I'm gonna tell you what I think we do have to be, I think, mindful of. Number one, Stadia needs to focus on the long-term game. Nothing changes on that. They need to focus on their two-year strategy, and I'm still convinced of that. That's not me, like MM said, me being positive. But here's what I think we got to be very careful of. And MM, I'm gonna agree with a statement you made, but it's from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of people that are putting down xCloud or the game streaming service. They just acquired Orion. That is going to allow them to make some massive leaps and jumps, I think, in a very short order. This move by Amazon is a reactionary move, in my opinion, to the Microsoft news, and I'll tell you why. From a marketing perspective, there was no showcase for this. They would have come out. I'm just telling you Amazon's MO. They would have come out just like Google does, had a presentation, showed you how it worked, talk about what their vision is of it. They did none of that here. They just threw this out into the marketplace and said, have fun. This is, everyone is now fighting, y'all. This is the competition battle we talked about, that it would be incursions. It would be theaters of war. We talked about this last year. Stadia needs to say something in the now. And when I say in the now, I want to be very targeted and very clear and concise. That does not mean going and buying up an entire outfit for $7.5 billion. That's not happening. There's short-term wins that they can do, though. They can acquire some smaller IPs, things that people are interested in. They can also get games of what? The now, the rogue companies, the cross-play games that make people interested in potentially playing on Stadia. They also have to look at a potential situation here. And MM, I think you remember me talking about this in January and in February, that there would come a time where they would have to consider offering a Game Pass-esque type of subscription tier. Not that it was the only thing that they needed to do, but they needed to have that additional option to be competitive. I think we're getting to a place now where they got to start seriously thinking about that. Doesn't mean that has to be their only business model. They just need to have options. So that's what I think they need to do. I don't think that they're immediately down and out. I don't think they're dead and dying, but competition is at the doorstep. And I'm sorry, this isn't a cub. They came out full force in here, and look at how they're forcing their ecosystem. They are trying to severely come in and basically cut off the feet of Google by pushing Alexa, Fire TV, all the things I've talked about before. They are trying to combat Google in a way that they've never been able to combat before. And they've got a very compelling argument right now, even with it being early access. So that's my take on it.
Anybody who wants to pick up on that?
All right, right here. So the reason it's a cub is simple. To me, I'm a consumer, right? You're going to have consumers that think like me and everybody else out here that's not just loyal to Stadia, who's waiting to try other cloud services, who's already tried xCloud, PS Now, and everything else under the sun, right? So when you start coming out here and you copying and pasting things that I saw Google say almost 10 months ago, if not 11 months ago or whatever, if you're out here copying and pasting, you're waiting on your competition talking about 1080p, hey man, hold on. I know it's only a resolution, right? But there's gamers out here that's buying 4K TVs, Chase. Now you know what's up with that, because you're excited about this Series S, which you should be. So there's a lot of gamers out here that's already now 4K TVs look more convenient. They're ready to move on. Stadia, what I'm saying is Stadia's tech is superior. That's why these companies are having a hard time catching up to what Stadia has been doing for almost a year, bro. They've been doing it for almost a year, man. And when I start hearing stuff like this, I'm like, okay, that sounds cute. Your controller looks cute. Yeah, you borrowed that straight from Xbox. Did you call them on the phone? You know what I'm
It looks
saying?
identical to Xbox.
Yeah. So it's
The
a
layout,
direct.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. The homie 64 on Twitter referenced it as the Pro controller for Nintendo, I guess. So yeah, you're borrowing ideas, and that's what you're supposed to do. Like it's a dog eat dog world, like the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Copy and paste. Now, let's see how it runs. Is what I'm saying, y'all. Before I start worrying about what it's gonna do to Stadia, because see, Stadia's in my hands right now. The controller's right here. You know what I'm saying? Like I had the controller sitting on my lap, and I'm playing this now. I know what Stadia is about. I know what it's been about since day one. Yes, iOS support is huge. That's huge right there.
Hey, can we talk about that later? Because that iOS support part,
Okay.
it's very tricky. Technically speaking, it's very tricky. It's not iOS support. It's different.
Oh,
Correct.
That's why the beginning of this article says it's web-based.
Yeah.
Because it's very different from having an application that you install. So, But I dropped a link here on our chat as well. Thanks to the Nerf report, it was here. It was happening an Amazon hardware event right now.
Okay, fair enough.
That was it. They were dropping, Echo Dots and everything.
They dropped Echo Dots. They dropped
drones,
Fire
some
Sticks
security drone. Yeah,
for $40, and they dropped a lot of stuff, including Luna.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I'll retract my previous statement.
Okay.
All right.
So now let me wrap up real quick. So
we missed the trick by not watching it. If you think, about it,
yeah.
Sorry, suckers, you're here now.
Yeah,
we're
you know
the
what I'm
ones. We're the ones that weren't paying attention, really. Because if you thought about it in retrospect, it probably would have been a good bet to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So,
Especially with Sabrina coming out as well.
Yeah.
Just to see what Amazon are doing.
Yep. And like I said, it's some things that are cute, right now. When we see them come to light, y'all, you already know, people, I'm gonna be on it. Project Storm will be on it day one as soon as I already signed up for the early access, whatever. I'm in there. But what I'm saying is you copy and paste from GeForce Now, you copy and paste from xCloud, you copy and paste heavily from Stadia, because Stadia's out here killing. You're talking about 4K coming soon for select titles, right? That's cute, but I already know the game, y'all. I pay attention to marketing, advertising, all that crazy stuff that's been going on for forever now. And then the Ubisoft channel, that's cool and everything too. But all Stadia has to do is say, well, we've officially launched Uplay Plus or whatever. And then that just kind of counters that. So I don't understand. I want to play New World. You know what I'm saying? I do want to play the games. I want to see who has the best latency and or best performance and all that stuff, man. I'm excited for it. But for all the people out there talking about Stadia's dead and all that, man, come on, man. We've been through this. We've been down this road before. Let's go.
There's a really obvious parallel that exists. And I'll just say here that Amazon's great advantage is that they have the consumer. Yeah. They're good at marketing to the consumer, unlike perhaps Google. Amazon are marvelous. And what Amazon are good at effectively is selling the lesser tech, but to a bigger audience. So Google have the tech, but Amazon have the consumer. And this was borne out with Alexa.
Yep.
Okay. Alexa sold and got consumers on board a lot more than Google Home. And as a result, it sold in the numbers to get people, to third parties interested to make sure that their apps work with Alexa before they work with Google Home and stuff. And yet anybody with an ounce of common sense or technology knows that Google Home Alexa is dumb. Yeah, Alexa is stupid, and Google Home is Einstein. That is the comparison you make. But the consumers recognize Amazon and as a seller of products.
Yep.
And that's why the Alexa sold in massive numbers. The Fire Stick. Why would you get a Fire Stick? Why wouldn't you just get an Android tablet? Why would you get like the Amazon Fire? Why? Because it's closed. You can't download all the apps from the Google Play. Why would you want to do that? But they convince people this is a great thing to do. Get yourself a cheap tablet. I saw consumers doing it. I'm thinking, why would you are limiting the amount of apps that you can get on that tablet? Why would you want to do that? But they sold in big numbers. This is what Amazon are good at. And they will probably do the same on the cloud gaming. They will effectively sell to the consumer what I would probably argue, and we don't know for sure, a slightly inferior product, but it will potentially reach a greater number of people than Stadia. But it doesn't kill Stadia, because the Google Home is, as they've caught up on the consumer side of it now. And now every device if you buy a new TV, it works with Bixby, Alexa, and Google Home. Every light bulb it works with everything now. And Google Home has started concentrating on their consumables, their devices, and their Nests, and we're going to find out more about those later this week and stuff like that. So it doesn't kill off Stadia. It just means that you've got two big players in the house. And then the other thing is that, and they'll live together, the market's big enough for that. Mass market, I'd probably tip my hat to Amazon and say, you know what, they'll probably reach more consumers because people have their Fire Sticks. They bought into that. Personally, I'd think, why would you want a Fire Stick? Surely you want a Chromecast Ultra. That's the way I've always thought. That's the better tech. But consumers just go for who's got the biggest marketing, who's got the biggest billboard. And that's what Amazon have effectively done with their Alexa and things like that, and the Fire Sticks. And so they've got a good base from which to kind of sell this concept. But the other thing that people talk about xCloud, and they talk about this Lunar and stuff, and be careful because xCloud will catch up in a few months and all this kind of stuff, or a year's time they'll be on a level that all assumes that Stadia is standing still. Right?
Yeah. Right.
So in 12 months' time, xCloud's 1080p. Well done, xCloud. Meanwhile, over at 4K, 120 frames per second Stadia, they're not standing still. Don't think at all, that Stadia's standing still. They're moving forward. Even if big, Goliaths come in at this level, they're not standing still in the Serengeti. They're still running. They're still going fast. They've still got, doing stuff behind the scenes that we've no idea about. They're still on their trajectory, their path. They're not doing this blindly. This is not a surprise to Google. This is not a surprise to xCloud. But each party knows where their strengths are. I don't understand. All right, sorry, Google. I was upset. For everybody at home.
What did you say? I love you for talking about me, Clyde. Thank you.
I don't understand the love you're giving me. So the point is that everybody's aware what everyone else is doing, and all they can do is play on their strengths and tighten up their weaknesses. And Amazon have the consumers, Xbox have the reputation and the games, Stadia have the tech. Each one knows where its weaknesses are, and each one knows where its strengths are. And I've simplified it, but that's how I would look at the three main parties in that area.
Let me go off of that real quick, and then I'll pass it to you, Eddie.
No, my bad. I was just gonna say Clive was going on Alexa, just like, hey Alexa, you are a dumb bitch.
And I have one point to add, but go ahead first.
I'm just gonna throw this in real quick. I think Clive brings up a great point as far as the core strength of each of them. I've always made this scenario, Clive, about it. To me, this whole cloud battle reminds me of PUBG, like where you strategize what part of the map do you want to jump out in. You know what I'm saying? And some people jump out in a more condensed area, a less condensed, whatever. But you all got to meet at the center, and it's that journey to the center. And what you do once you get to the center, that'll determine who the victors or the victor is. But Stadia's weakness isn't their demise. Amazon's weakness isn't their demise, and xCloud's weakness isn't their demise. And to all that, to the whole point of Orion, which we're going to talk about later too, Orion is built to help everybody. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be an all interesting take on things, but this definitely shakes things up a little bit. But go ahead, Chase. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What are your thoughts, my friend?
No, I just wanted to put some perspective on something though, and I it's not to fault anybody from looking internally from within, but I really want to caution people on this, and I think this is I have to say this in this moment because I feel like we're seeing the fruits of some things that I've said before. We've got to be careful about siloing here and isolating and saying it's only what I see. What Clive was talking about how the consumer marketplace looks at Amazon. Amazon caught up to Google in the sense of they launched the Echo Dot and the Alexa systems as a direct counteraction to what Google was doing in some of the technologies that they were already ahead on and they were already advanced on. And then Amazon just took off with all of the other pieces that they have in the marketplace between Prime, between Amazon Shopping, between their video services. They have such a far outreach to a broad audience that when I say they're a lion, you got to understand, we're not talking about the tech here, y'all. Again, we got to separate that for a second. Just because you have the best technology, that doesn't mean you win in business.
No, absolutely.
Companies that have had worse tech have won out. That has happened. We have to remember that. That's a historical fact. So you have to look at this from a market penetration perspective of how is this going to play out in the numbers game. And I think that's what we got to look at here is Google can't get off their game. They have to focus on that 2-year path, but they've also got to be hyper aware of what's going on around them because you can get lost in the conversation. And considering how they came into the market, again, we got to be honest about this. Considering how they came into the market, they're already battling against an uphill battle where Amazon, they're really not. They're not necessarily. Whether when we look at how they've broken down their website about they took this from xCloud or they took this from Google, they don't have the same pressure on them that Google had coming out first, and the market basically saying, "I'm sorry, Google. I'm so sorry." I thought it was the Google Home speaker. They're not battling against the market pressures of people rejecting some of this stuff, right? And people being against what some of the business strategies are. So I think we just have to be very careful, and panel, that we don't turn this into, well, in Stadia, this is how we view it. No, you got to look at this a little bit broader, especially from the business perspective. And competition is great. Guys, we're getting the best things right now out of this. This is one of the best years in gaming in 2 decades. No doubt about it.
Any other thoughts on this before?
Also, I think it puts the cloud gaming is here. Just if there's any doubt,
it's definitely here.
Yeah.
I have just something. So in order to play on the TV, you need to have a Fire TV stick, just as you need to have a Chromecast Ultra. That is just got an update with this event. It's going out for $39.99. And you need to have the controller as well, which goes for $60. So 60 plus 40 equals 100, just like
Stadia.
Copy and paste
edition of Stadia.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna shut up about this subject because I live in Canada and there's no
Eddie, right, yes. Eddie, and that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at that and the territories or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And basically, Chris just said the same thing, and that's what I'm talking about. See, Amazon, yes, Chase, they are a powerhouse. They are a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that don't mean a damn thing to me as the gamer, because I'm already playing games on Stadia right now, and you're trying to catch up, and I'm playing my games on my 4K display. Why the hell am I going to settle full time?
But you're not. But Project, you're not the audience. That's what I'm trying to say.
I know. Oh, no. I know that. But even with that being said, right? Just like Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, they duke it out, right? From generation to generation, they duke it out. I mean, like, Xbox is on top, 360, and then next thing you know, here comes PlayStation 3, and they stink it up with the price, right? But then they start to recoup, and then PS4 comes out, bang! Everybody's on the PlayStation side now, so they're gonna have those turns. So if Amazon comes out and they take the market, they wreck shop, then it's on Google to go ahead and see. I don't care what the businesses do. I don't care what these corporations do. All I care about is the services they provide, the games I could play. And I'm sure a lot of consumers feel the same damn way. That's all I'm saying.
I want to give these thoughts and then maybe we can move on if anyone doesn't have any thoughts afterwards. There's room here, and there's room for each one. I see a lane for each one. And I don't want to underscore what Amazon's doing here. This is big that they're in here, but I don't want to overscore it right now yet until we get more information. I mean, to Storm's point, and we really didn't even have a chance to really talk about this because he was sitting there suffering through Serious Sam 4 like I was. But we'll get to that a little bit.
We'll talk about that, man.
We'll talk about that.
Oh yeah,
but,
man.
But
almost forced a purchasing preference, man. Exactly. I don't do that, y'all. But we're gonna get into it later.
But here's what I think we also got to be cognizant of and careful of. At the end of the day, gamers want access to the games that they want to play. So, I mean, I get that this is a channel subscription service. It's going to be appealing to those, but I think the secret sauce for success is who's going to appeal more to gamers. Is it going to be the service that gives you a whole bunch of games for $5.99 now and likely to be $15 a month or whatever the case may be? Or is it somebody that I can buy my Madden from right now, or I can buy my Call of Duty from right now? So again, it's great that they're out here. I think it's smart that it seems like that they got the iOS market cornered, not because they get iOS support, but because they have their answer to be on the iOS devices. But I don't want to overstate anything right now. And one thing that we also got to remember, people, is that despite what happened to Stadia at the beginning, that was something that happened to 5% of gamers. The other 95%, I've heard Clive talk about this before as he talked about his son and his son's friend. 95% of gamers don't even know what the hell Stadia is. They're like, Stadia who? What? They don't like what? So both of these markets pretty much are in the same, or both of these products are in the same place. It's all about who's going to go from their end of their PUBG map to the center, the fastest and the most efficient. And we just got to get more information to see who's going to do what. So those are just my 2 cents on that. But before we move on, any other thoughts on this? I mean, this is just big news altogether.
I'm curious what games, what they're running the games on. And I think Anders in the chat raised the point. Are they PC based game? Are they running effectively a virtual PC, or is it they're going to have to be ported? I'm curious because obviously that affects the speed at which you could suddenly offer an EA Play channel or whatever and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because somebody might just say, you know what, I don't want to pay $15.99 for an EA. See, here's the thing, and again, I don't want to dog xCloud or anything. I'm done with that. xCloud, I mean, with the advent of Orion coming and all the moves that they've made, everybody's going to potentially be a juggernaut. We don't know how this is going to land. But I think sometimes people get in the habit of saying, yeah, xCloud is the service. It's the superior service. Where you might have casuals that say, I just want my access to one or few games that I want to play, and what's in xCloud doesn't appeal to me. I want it day and date. I want my Madden day and date. I want my FIFA day and date. And that doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather just buy it right out. So the question is Amazon's answer to give you an EA access channel? And if it is Madden going to be day and date? How much is it going to cost? All that stuff has to be answered before. And again, when we ask these questions, we got to ask them in the vein, who is going to make the quickest dash to the casual consumer first? But what I will say that is promising for Stadia at this advent is that we see that there's going to be 50 U+ games on this channel. I am going to resign the belief that if there's going to be 50 on this channel, there's likely going to be 50 on Stadia for Uplay Plus. If that's not the case,
same library. I would go even and say is exactly the same library.
It's exactly the same. Yep.
They're working on it now.
The thing that we're going to see different, it's pricing.
Exactly.
I hope that we got a better pricing on Stadia, just because the partnership Stadia has with Uplay Plus, or with Ubisoft. But I wouldn't be surprised as well if the pricing would be the same on Amazon and on Stadia.
Yeah.
Well, here's one more thing before we move on, man, that I was talking about to the people right now that's confused and don't know where to go. Chase can help you on one side. I can help you see things through another lens. You put me and Chase together, we have a hell of a duo. You know what I'm saying? Is how I feel. So we can definitely disagree. We've been doing this shit Chase knows, man. We've been doing this for so long.
Project, I love you, and I always interject out of love.
And you know what we do, because there's consumers that's thinking like Chase every damn day, and there's consumers that's thinking like me. But if I agree with Chase and Chase agrees with me, what the hell? What are we doing for the people? So with that being said, now I'm looking at the two models real quick, and man, I'm gonna try to be quick. So the $5.99 a month early access pricing that they're giving us, it says unlimited hours of play. Okay, and then on the free one or whatever, coming soon or whatever, same thing. The next one, growing library of games. Now I'm trying to try to draw these parallels to Stadia, right? Because at any given time, there's only a couple tweaks that Stadia needs to make here. Get what I'm saying? They could be right on par. And the biggest one is iOS. Now we know that Stadia wants to be on these iOS devices. Could they be working on something? Could they be ready to make an announcement later on? We don't know yet, but nothing right here is saying that this right here is superior. And all I'm trying to say is it's not superior to Stadia.
To me, it's not on Amazon either yet. On Android. It won't be available on Android initially. Yeah.
And it's so real quick, man, because I don't want to spend that much time on it, bro. And I definitely don't want to cut you off. But it says up to 1080p 60, 4K coming soon, like I said earlier. Stream on 2 devices for the paid $5.99 a month one, right? Stream on 2 devices at a time.
That's cool.
Right, and then stream on 1 device for the other tier or whatever. So what if Stadia? Y'all, you might think I'm crazy, but I can feel this coming up now. Competition is going to push it to make it happen quicker, I'm assuming. But Stadia could then say, "Hey, we've unlocked the ability to stream on multiple devices at one time." You get what I'm saying? I just want people to always keep that open. And then it says play on PC, Mac, Fire TV, and web apps for iPhone and iPad. I think this language can be said for Stadia as well.
I think, to me, the biggest pros for this right now, for what we know, is the fact that it's available on iOS. I think it was a smart move because of all the hoopla we're hearing with the other cloud services. And 2, it sounds like it's geared more towards people just wanting a buffet. Well, I don't want to say just, but people that prefer a buffet of games opposed to specific game at specific time. That's where I think the 2 pros are so far, but more to come. All right, Joe. Go ahead.
It's just on that because technically speaking, we don't know a detail how you would access the service. Like if, for example, I'm accessing Stadia on my phone via the Stadia app, on my TV by pressing a button on my Stadia controller, or on PC by going to an URL and typing something. No. We don't know that on PC if there's going to be a client for this or not. And for what I could understand, you would access this service on iOS devices by going into a URL.
Yeah, it's like a link, effectively.
Yeah. So that's the part when they say web-based. It was on the head of the article.
Yeah. I think it's all, it's spoiler. It's not a native iOS app. Yeah, because that was my first thought. But then if they're going web based, and it seems like that they were, I mean, it sounds like from what was leaked of Stadia might be on that path, but they just beat them to it. That's all, and that's good for Amazon and smart for them as well. So
because you can access Stadia today on your iOS devices. I can access on my iPad. But I don't. It needs to be another browser other than Safari, and I have to change something on the codec because Safari doesn't support VP9, which is the codec that Google Stadia runs. So probably from the get-go, I would say Amazon is using a different codec to process the gaming, which is supported by Safari.
Yep. Yeah. And it says right here in the article. With the Luna PWA, Amazon is once again sidestepping the hurdle that has proven insurmountable for companies like Microsoft and Epic. We work with Safari team to ensure that some of the things that weren't there are there and allowed us to kind of get to where we are today. Luna head of engineering and technology, George Sipolitis. George said, G said what G said over there. All right, so very interesting chain of events. I've already had some talks with some of my Daddy Device friends in the Stadia, and then I throw some of the quotes at them, and they shut up. So, I mean, no, I'm in all support of this. I signed up for it. I'm all about cloud gaming. I don't want to do Daddy Device gaming ever again. So it'll be an interesting chain of events. But again, I do agree with the sentiment that, it'd be better to hear from Stadia. More transparency is always good to see what they're coming down the pike with. But to Clive's point, just because we're hearing something doesn't mean that they ain't working on something. So, all right. With that said,
we didn't even talk about the Twitch integration that they're promising from the very beginning, which something crazy that it has been 10 months of Stadia and we haven't seen anything on that.
And it probably forces their hand, Eddie. This is again, the competition's always good, and it probably forces them to say, "All right, no weekend at Bernie's. Like everybody's churning up. No more lattes. No more,
Because Amazon know how to sell. That's what they do.
Exactly.
Google's an engineering firm. Yeah,
that's all I've been saying, y'all.
And Jason, Jason's been saying it all this time. Amazon, they're like a market stall. They sell stuff, and they know how to sell stuff.
Yep.
And it's interesting that this is early access. It's interesting that you're getting quite a lot like that, and the instant integration with Twitch, which is like a kind of of course, and the click to play, and all that kind of stuff will be in it. A complete identikit. This space is going to be a battle between, Stadia and Luna. This space.
Yes,
Clive, and they learned that they learned here to put early access. They learned what the backlash was from Google. And so I'm telling you, you can't sleep on these individuals. They may not have the tech yet, but they have paid attention very closely and sat back to see what was the positives and what were the negatives and how Google went about some of their movements. And it was smart.
They all learned from it. Look, GFN learned from it too. They put the founders in there and they did, you know what I mean? If there was one thing that I think would kind of change the dynamic of the conversation altogether, it would have been how Stadia launched. I mean, let's be honest though, because they came out first, they already had the pitchforks out there because it was a sole cloud gaming solution. And I think that's why Amazon came out with Crucible and New World first that were dedicated device games, even though they had poor receptions. The fact that they landed on dedicated devices first, I think it made them more favorable to people. And Stadia just paid for being first. But yeah, I mean, we can't, to Chase's point, we can't doubt the influence that Amazon has, despite their showing with the tech. So this is great. Eddie brought up a great point. We ain't even talk about the Twitch integration that's promised day one. Google hopefully is paying attention, and again, no more weekend lattes, no more happy sack. You know what I'm saying? 30-minute happy sack sessions every 5 minutes. Like, get to it. Get to it. Yeah, exactly.
If you look at the, Clive, so you can quickly look at the. If you look at the games on the Luna site.
Let me go back.
They're sort of. Other than the Ubisoft games, which we know was Valhalla, which will be part of the Uplay Plus, so you can discount the Ubisoft games. There's some interesting, and equally on Stadia, there's some old games, but there's no, where's you put your biggest, most enticing games there. So you take Valhalla off that, and any other and Watch Dogs, you take that off there.
Control.
Control. Control is their big one. But where's Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Where's your feet?
Yeah.
I was thinking
what I'm talking about. That day one,
These are like more like a PlayStation Now, a PS Now type thing in terms of like older games. And I know people say, well, there's plenty of older games on Stadia. Yes, correct. There are. But there are a variety of day and date. Yeah, Marvel Avengers, Cyberpunk's coming. Okay, we'll discount the Uplay titles, but we've got, there'll be the FIFA and the Madden as well. So, and the golf and all that kind of stuff, and the Formula One and all that, they're not, I mean, obviously we don't know what they've got, and there's deals still to be done, and they could all, well be, be doing those things, but it's just interesting. And this is interesting. There's some familiar faces. So that we've got Steam Dig, Steam World Dig 2. We've got Metro, Rhyme,
if you look as well, the list of publishers, they put it down there. It's not that big.
No,
if they had
if they had
big names, they would have brought big names. They're just saying Ubisoft, Capcom, 505, and Team 17.
Yeah, it's like they picked up back catalog, what they call, from the titles from the back catalog.
Yeah. And now we see why Google Stadia is so damn quiet sometimes, y'all. I just want y'all to think about this now.
Yeah.
And when my predictions come to light, you know what I'm saying, that Stadia is not going to be all out there making all kind of noise because they know Amazon's taking notes. They know that Amazon's behind the 8 ball when it comes to the technology that they have already at their disposal. So this is, to me, it just makes sense. So we'll see who's right, man. I like this. I like this kind of stuff. We'll see who's right this fall when the announcements first start to roll out.
It'd be interesting. Do we, and this is one for the chat as well, would we prefer Stadia to not drip feed us with bits and bobs here and there, but just sort of stay quiet, gather all the pieces, and then just do a big mic drop and say, here's everything?
Well, we know they know how to do mic drops.
I feel like that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. That's what I wonder, little kind of spoon feeders a little bit here and there, but I think they're waiting to get all the pieces together. So they go, okay, here's the YouTube integration. Plus we want to announce that EA Play's coming, plus these big games, plus, one sort of big package of stuff. I think they're gathering and signing the bits of paper and gathering it all together. In a way, I hope that's what they're doing.
And Clive, to add to that, I had this feeling earlier today that that's exactly what they're planning for November 1 year. They're going to say, you guys remember we were here 1 year ago?
Yes, sir, Eddie.
Yeah, that's the place to do it, Eddie, isn't it? That's the place to do it.
We dropped everything. We said that we're going to be doing all of these things. So here we go. Right now, we're going to have Family Share. We're going to have YouTube. You're going to have all of this.
Play.
And you play with 50 games.
A glimpse of first-party studios and what they're working on. 8K talk and all this for the next generation of Stadia. All that, man. They might not drop all that, y'all, but if they do, remember who was talking about it for months. You know what I'm saying? Me, others, Trizza, everybody else, man. We was talking about it. We believed in it. You know what I mean? Bibbidi Bop, so many people. But I know we've been on this for like an hour, man. I know you're ready to move on. But, man, this was big, bro.
Just the last one here. Apparently, the click to play, it's something that may have copyrights. So Luna said, just pick up and play.
Pick up.
Hey Eddie, where did the name come from? We know how Stadia was derived, but where did the name come from? Anybody know?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The moon? Like it's in the cloud? Don't know. Luna, moon? Luna, you probably. That's a female, so like Alexa.
Hey, come on. Don't tell me they was copying that much that they went from the cloud to the moon. That's what.
Oh, man.
Oh, all right, y'all. Yeah, so very interesting chain of events. I think I'm getting a lot of DMs. I'm responding to them. Somebody put out there the Stadia killer. Like, stop. Like we're breaking it down right now. Just seems like that there's going to be 50 games in a Game Pass style model for one channel. The other 50 are on Uplay Plus, the same Uplay Plus that we're likely getting here. I mean, it's an interesting gaming model, and it serves a certain brass. So it'll be interesting to see. But I've signed up for it because it's only $5.99. So
me too.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. With that said, now let's go to more somber news. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Serious. Let me do this.
Don't you be nice, man. I mean, let's call it like it is. And I mean, I'm gonna hold you to the. I'm gonna hold you accountable.
I'll tell you what. Let's do this. While I'm setting everything up, you just talk about it. Seriously.
I did a thorough breakdown. Hey, what up, Chase? Go ahead, man.
Before you go, I have to head out, so I just want to say goodbye to the chat, goodbye to the panel. Y'all take it easy. Thank you for having me.
All right, Chase, man. Hey, I look forward to being on the future show, man, so we can continue this talk, bro.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, bet it up.
See you, Chase.
All right, bye, Clive. Bye, Eddie. Bye, MM.
All right. See you, bro. All right. So go ahead.
So real quick, Serious Sam 4, y'all. I was so excited for it. I'm not gonna lie. Like the collection had me pumped. I'm like, Crow Team. All right, yeah, it's only on Stadia and Steam and all this stuff. And then I played it, and I want you all to say, listen to me now. I'm not telling you all what to do, but don't throw your money at the game just yet, because it's not polished. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And one thing you know about me is I'm not going to be out here capping. I'm not going to be out here lying. That's just not me. I'm not going to say, go spend your $40 US on this game right now if I don't feel like it's polished. Now for me, it was so bad that I had to turn game mode off on my TV, and I just bought this Q80T, Samsung Q80T, 4K 120 hertz TV, right? So the response time is not the issue. It was something like the screen tearing and stuff like that going on. There was a lot of that stuff going on, man. Also, there was a lot of pop-in and things like that. The game just feels like it's not finished at all. Like there's really a lot more polish that could have been put on this game. That's the nicest way I can put it, y'all. Like people came on earlier and who was live at the time? Somebody said, oh, Chase was live. Somebody came in and said IGN gave it a 5. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna be nice about anything. This is just me. I'm a consumer, I can speak on it. I agree with that 5 right now. That's all I'll say, MM. What's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, I started off in 4K. This is my footage, and then the thing went sour on me. But I'm playing on Chrome Canary. But I wanted to do that because I wanted to show people how fast you can resume back into the game, and you can see just that fast I resume right back in. But Canary right now is not optimal for Stadia, just so people are what Chrome Canary isn't. But here nor there. So I played the game in 4K. I started off in 4K, and as I'm playing it, I noticed that it's not 30 frames per second. But I said that's okay. I wasn't expecting a 30 frames per second in 4K for the simple fact that here. Let me see if I can get this resolution up a little bit better. For the simple fact that because of the specs, we talked about it on SML Storm. The PC specs of this game are ridiculous. Yeah. So I didn't expect it to be a 4K 60, right?
Right.
So I said, okay, it's not 4K. Let me go to 1080p mode so I can start. I did not fathom that this would not have a 1080p 60 mode. Logged out, booted it in 1080p 60 mode into what I thought would be 1080p 60 mode. Let me see if I can find it for you.
So you're playing on the browser right now? Let the people know. Were you playing on the browser?
Yeah, I was playing on the browser.
Okay.
And let me see. Okay. All right. I think this is me getting back. Okay. This is me getting back in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it at 1080p mode, but then it's only 30 frames per second. So there is no 60 frames per second mode on this game, and it's a Twitch shooter.
That's sad.
And to me, what I love about Stadia is that 60 frames per second performance. I don't even play games at 30 frames per second anymore unless I have to, because I'm playing on PlayStation and I've set my monitors up to work smoothly with 60 frames per second. All the stuff I got to do in order to play at 30 frames per second, I don't even want to deal with it. So the fact that this is a Twitch shooter that plays only at 30 frames per second, to me, was a disappointment. And let me fast forward so there it goes right there. So it's 30 frames per second. That's the 1080p mode. It was hellified disappointing. And the problem is for me is it's not that, I mean, the people were like, oh, the Serious Sam is not Doom and it's not elegant in the storytelling. Serious Sam is a what do you call that? Oh, the term lost me. It's an oxymoron. There's nothing serious about the game. It's all slapstick humor. It's all hilarious. It's still funny, but it's a Twitch shooter, and a Twitch shooter requires a lot of frames, at least 60 frames per second. So that to me is a no buy right there.
You can see the bad frame rate. I'm sorry, bro. You can see it right now on the stream. That's that. Now that shows you all that's what you're gonna see in most cases, unless you have trickery like Game Motion Plus on the Samsung displays, but. Luckily, that's what kind of saved the game, where I was able to play it for like an hour and a half or so, or whatever I spent on it, trying to give you all a thorough first take on it, man. But it's not one of the best games to be playing on Stadia right now. There's too many other games that are more polished right now. And I hate, y'all know I don't like to trash the developers' hard work, MM. But I have to say, I had to keep it real, y'all. So this is the time to be real about everything, and this is not it right now. Now, if a major patch comes out, I'll repurchase the game or whatever I need to do. But right now, I don't even intend to keep the game, y'all.
Yeah, I'm returning it. So here's okay. So that's that. Now here goes the Twitch shooter of Twitch shooters this year. This is Doom, the older game. This is Doom on Stadia. This is what a Twitch shooter is supposed to look like. So we'll just let this play in the background as we continue to talk. But those are my thoughts. I cannot recommend this game enough. I mean, I cannot recommend this game at all. I mean, excuse me.
Could put the pause in the right place.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Eddie, Clive, have you got look now? This is what 60 frames per second Twitch game is supposed to look like. Have you guys played Serious Sam? Have you guys buy it, or what are your thoughts on this?
No, I've not played the new one, but I watched your stream, and it's as you know, watching Project Storm play Doom 2016.
Yeah,
you know, that thing just looks so polished. And Serious Sam's, I know it's not serious game, but from a technical point of view, it still should look and feel like smooth and polished. And it does have that. I think somebody said it looks like a Resurrect. I think it said it looks like a 360 game. And you know, that was an accusation you could level at the earlier versions, because effectively they were. This is their new one. In the world of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, this is the world that they're playing with. And you know, in fairness to them, they don't have the developer size of Bethesda and stuff or id Software to maybe needed to add that kind of level of polish. But you'd expect to see it, but it does feel and look a bit stiff in its play, really, which is for now, for 2020, is just not really right.
It's Eddie. What are your thoughts? I mean, were you interested in getting Serious Sam at all, or what are your thoughts on this?
So I wasn't interested in, but I share a different opinion than you guys here, and I'm gonna explain my why. So I did watch the IGN review, and before to that, I watched a backstage video from Crow Team when they were showing how they did the game. So start with their capture suit. Their capture suit is homemade.
Okay. Yeah.
Everything that they do in terms of creating the 3D characters on that, it's homemade. They create the tech. They bought a bunch of retail cameras, plug it into a rig, and then they took a picture of every camera at the same time and render it in 3D. So it is a as you say, Twitch shooter, but you gotta understand before bashing a little bit on the game. You gotta understand what they were trying to deliver, and to what they were trying to deliver, they accomplished it. That's why I agree so much with the review of IGN when they gave it a 5, because in terms of graphics, no, you can't compare to Doom, you can't compare to Quake. Not anything, because it's not what they're trying to achieve. What they were trying to do is bring more enemies at the same time and giving a challenge level to play. But it's not if you're thinking, oh my God, this is a next gen game in terms of graphics. No, that's not the objective they were looking at. And that was not the purpose of the game. They were just trying to increase battle sizes, giving you that Pope mobile, but in terms of graphics and modeling and everything, no, it's still very much closer to what we saw on the beginning of this past generation, 2013. They didn't evolve anything on that on that framework.
Right, there you go.
So
there you go.
That's my honest review. Again, I wasn't interested because I didn't. Although we have the games on Pro on Stadia, I tried once. I said, no, it's not for me. And the fact, you're saying that is 30 FPS and made you not interested. I understand that. I wouldn't expect this game to be as polished with graphics and 60 FPS from the beginning, because I say, okay, what these guys do, what are these guys' size, and what they're trying to accomplish. So they were just trying to have much more enemies, just bring it chaotic as possible, but still, it's like a nostalgia. It's a throwback. It's not like we're playing something brand new 2020.
Yeah, I mean,
and just to address Resurrector's point here, it's disappointing because it's a Stadia exclusive. Actually, again, this game is available on PC, and the IGN review as well was based on PC. And the specs on PC are that crazy high because of the number of the mobs coming to you.
Yeah.
I get that, and that's here's the problem with that, and that makes and I'm not doubting anything that you said, Eddie. It makes perfect sense. Here's the problem with that. If that was their goal, and they were taking a franchise, and you said not necessarily a more technically enhanced direction, but a different, more enemy compact direction. Then it's not Serious Sam 4. It's Serious Sam Elitist or Serious Sam Mafia or something. It's not. Serious Sam is a twitch shooter, and what you do is if you remove the core twitch shooter elements because of something new you're trying to implement, then you need to be very clear that you're going in a very different direction. And that wasn't clear at all, for the simple fact that everybody's expecting anything that they get Serious Sam to be 60 frames per second at least, no matter where it's at. And I think that's a big problem on their behalf. I get that you can get it if you got a powerful rig, but if their target wasn't 60 frames per second, then this isn't Serious Sam 4. This is Serious Sam Elitist or Serious Sam Power Enemy or whatever you want to call it. And that's where they made their big fail. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. So.
Got it.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I was going to say, man, across all platforms, we get disappointed with certain games. It's nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the
yeah. So we're gonna keep it real, man. I mean, if we are here like praising something that we figure is mediocre, then what's that setting us up for in the future?
Exactly.
You know.
So. Oh wow! Any closing thoughts on this, Clive? I mean, again, I know this makes you want to pick it up faster. No,
I was looking forward to getting it, but seeing yourself try and play it earlier today, and I'm a bit like, no, I'll give it a miss.
Yeah. I'm hoping, Clive. What I'm hoping is that this is one of those situations where the performance vastly improves. And then a week later or so, it comes back, at 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? I just, that's the biggest pet peeve for me is the frames.
I mean, to Eddie's point, they're not a big, and public domain as well. They're not a big developer and stuff, and so it lacks a bit of polish or whatever. But that's why you pay 60 odd quid for a AAA game, because you're paying for a massive, massive development team. Yep. With a whole team dedicated to just polishing the shiny bits. You know what I mean? Whereas Crow Team aren't that, but then sell the game at $20 or something.
It was 35 quid, right?
Okay.
I think it's 35 quid.
Yeah, 35, 40 in the States. So I mean, it wasn't a full. Which none of the Serious Sams were ever, because they were all, no matter when they were launched.
Period, right?
Yeah, they never. Yeah, it was just the twitch shooter aspect of it that's always was the big draw. So, all right,
you know what I'm disappointed. Hey,
Okay, well, in fairness, it's 30 quid. So okay, that's
what
about right. You pay for what you get.
What I'm disappointed by the most is, as I had to hide the homie Ruckus, man. Like, we out here being real, man. Ruckus be coming on here trying to incite a riot, man. But here's the deal. So I had to hide that. So check this out, man. Anders had a good point earlier. He said said it would be a technical marvel, right? Now, as you just heard from me and the brother MM2K, we just called it a spade a spade. We kept it real. You know what I'm saying? And I know Anders laughed about it or whatever. Like, because he knows each one of us as gamers have looked at a title that we thought was going to be the best thing since Halo and Witcher 3 and Half-Life 2 and all this, right? And then it doesn't shake out that way. That's all. We're not trashing developers or the work that they did. We appreciate the work. We hope they make Serious Sam 5 and make it the best game they could. See, for me, y'all, I look forward to the game because I was like, okay, just like Orcs Must Die, this could be a showcase game for Stadia, right?
Yep.
That's what I was saying. They showed you a glimpse at the very start of the game when you're fighting with 1,000 enemies or whatever around you, but it just didn't translate into smooth gameplay. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Moss, do you think Serious Sam will become a pro title now?
I hope they do. I hope it is. Yeah.
I'll certainly, if it's a pro title, yeah, I'll give it a go.
I hope it does. I mean, yeah, if it becomes a pro, if they fix it and make it a pro title, I think that's the right thing to do, Eddie. I'm glad you brought that up for the simple fact that one of the greatest things about Stadia is it seems like they're very peculiar about the types of games that they bring to the platform. Pretty much all of the games that are here are high quality games, old or not. So seeing this on here, I understand why they wanted to support it, but to me, playing it, it feels like it was pushed too early, and Stadia should have. I don't know if they should have said something like, "Hey, look, we're funding a lot of this. This may need some little bit more time in the oven." I think the right thing to do for Stadia's involvement in this, and I hate to put it that way, is to show some respect back to the consumer and say, "Look, we're gonna give it to our pro members for free for X amount of time, and we're sorry, COVID, whatever the case may be, but yeah, this definitely belonged back in the oven. We were hoping to get that Stadia filter of quality before this release, and we didn't with this one." So
yeah, in fairness, unlike say, you acquiring finished games, or you take a leap of faith that like making a film or anything, that you invest in it, that you acquire it while they're developing it, you're expecting it to be the best thing since sliced bread. There's no guarantee, same with films. There's no guarantee, who you put on it, what's it got, that it quite turns out like that. So you're going to get the odd title that you think, yeah, the Serious Sam was quite popular. The other version that they put out and the pro, and people seem to like it. So, and then Crow team say, we've got the sequel coming out, Stadia go, yeah, no, that sounds great. We'll have that. And obviously they're hoping that it is going to be, awesome.
Yeah,
but it's no guarantee because it wasn't already done, and that's going to be true of even of potentially a AAA game. Imagine in an Anthem type scenario, everybody, I'm sure they thought that was going to be amazing.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So there we have it on that one. That was disappointing, but it is what it is. I'll return it. And I just got a feeling, I don't know about you, Storm, I got a feeling it is going to get better, and I'll pick it up when it gets better. But, whether it's through pro or if they just say, all right, now it's, if they release some patch notes and they say, 60 frames per second mode, now on Stadia, I'll pick it back up. But right now, nah.
Yeah, because I don't think you all want me to put that one in 4K right now. It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't be the best experience right now. You know what I'm saying? Again, no shout outs to Crow Team, man. Thank you for bringing the game to Stadia.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. With that said, on to the next subject matter. Here, let me do this, guys, because I'll tell you what. Can you guys hear this? Let me know on the panel if you can hear this. Hold on. I'm about to play it right now. Could y'all hear that?
No.
Nope.
No? Okay. All right, let me do this. I have to unshare this, stop sharing screen. I got to share it again. And this time, like someone who has some sense, let me add the audio to it. All right. Okay, so let me do this. All right, guys, that is this right here is the showcase to Orion.
Yeah.
Did I say that right, Storm?
Yeah, that's right. Orion.
Or Orion. I was calling Orion.
Orion.
I know why. It's like Orion. It's like Orion. We pronunciate that thing. Pronunciate.
Yeah, the Orion.
Orion.
Exactly. I don't know why. I don't know why I wasn't making a correlation, but I was calling it or the correlation. I wasn't making a correlation. I was calling it Orion. But there's a lot of, I think, misunderstanding of what Orion is. And for those of you that don't know what Orion is, and I'll let Clive chime on this right after just this quick introduction. I'll let him chime on it first. Is that what Orion is Orion is a tool set, right, Clive, that allows cloud games to perform better, and it's baked in at the engine level. And it was something that Bethesda was developing. And now that Bethesda is part of Microsoft, it's a proprietary tool set that belongs to Microsoft now. So, which is a big deal. But I think people were under the understanding, Clive, that it was something that was just going to boost xCloud automatically, something that was server side. They completely misunderstand how this is going to work. So I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna let you try to explain to people what Orion is.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on it, but from watching this, which I did watch a few days ago, I think your boy Twiz went through it as well, and I went back and watched it from that. It's baked in terms of the software, in terms of the compression. Yeah, to do with the compression, and I think their principle is that it could apply to any game.
Yeah.
So it's a tool that could be applied to games to help them in the delivery, of that game in a cloud service format, in terms of the, compressing the video and the frame rate and everything, getting it out there, and then it gets unpacked. And you say it's meant to be at the software level, so it's a really useful tool. And obviously they were working on that at the same time. Stadia, wanted a proof of concept of their technology. What better way than to use, a fast, as you say, a twitchy first-person shooter like Doom. And that's why Stadia picked Doom. I mean, they, in their Project Cloud, they used Assassin's Creed, but to really show as a proof of concept that, people say, well, yeah, that's fine, you're playing a story, but what about, proper fast, first-person shooter stuff? Well, Doom is the perfect example as a proof of concept that, there isn't a lag or latency issue. So they worked with id Software on that and achieving it. Hence, we got Doom Eternal as well on Stadia. But equally, they were working on their own cloud tech that could be applied at software level to help other games, potentially, not just theirs. And so that's why it's useful. But the other thing is not just that; it's the know-how. And the research and the experiments and the things that didn't work and all that kind of stuff that effectively Microsoft have actually bought. They bought the knowledge, so it's not just the engine and the tech. It's a sort of tech like Unity or Unreal. Epic make games. Epic sell, develop games and publish games, but they also publish the number one piece of development tech that develop number one developer tool that all major developers use in the Unreal Engine. So I imagine this is what we're talking here is just one of many. There's a myriad of development tools. This looks like, or it sounds like, it's a development tool specifically to help you with compression, which is crucial for being able to deliver high quality video over the internet, etc. So I think that's what it is, and that tool will automatically is now the property of Microsoft. So there's no licensing issue for any of Microsoft developers to use that tool. So that's a big advantage, and equally the knowledge and the engineers and the know-how behind that now effectively work for Microsoft as well. And with any takeover like that, you're often buying, but they're buying the IP, but they're also buying the know-how, and that's a shortcut way to get. If you look, well, I talked much earlier. I talked about the weak companies know their weaknesses, and we talked about tech potentially being one of xCloud's weaknesses.
Yep.
Well, this is a great way to speed up and improve that weakness by buying the knowledge and the experts in with you. And Orion clearly is from what they demonstrated here and everything, is a very useful, powerful tool for the future. Now we know the future is now. It's the right tool to have under your roof.
I agree. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's very interesting, man, because now Orion is coming out and they're trying to do native 4K streaming, right? Which is dope for people like me. You know what I mean? Very, very makes me very excited. But then there's DLSS talk and all this stuff that can be integrated by NVIDIA and AMD. I'm sure they have their own proprietary technology that they could probably use that's similar to like a DLSS or something that they're coming up with. It's all interesting because now they're talking about DLSS looks in certain cases, if not all, better than native 4K. So I think it's just interesting.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Eddie?
Actually, I don't have anything because I have just heard the explanation from Clive. I haven't heard about Orion before. But interesting to follow that there has been some technology development in terms of codecs, in terms of compression, that I hope Microsoft uses this technology and somehow, because again, right now, if I'm not wrong, xCloud, it is running. There's no cloud. It's just an Xbox being accessed somewhere.
Yes, Xbox is S, the Xbox S at the moment.
So
yeah.
It's not a cloud. It's just you're putting the game somewhere else. And maybe I'm wrong and I don't know the tech details of that, but I hope Microsoft down the line implement these technologies and make the cloud game experience over there smoother. Because right now, comparing to Stadia, as Paris Lily did his impression, he said, talk about that, Em, because I know you saw that.
No,
I'll just before that, I'll tell you exactly.
Go ahead,
So Orion, just right from the horse's mouth, as it were, you can go and check out the site. They have a page dedicated to it. What is Orion? Orion is a technology that enhances the experience of a streamed game. Yeah. Orion technology reduces latency and bandwidth while streaming a game, making streamed games accessible to more people in more areas at a higher quality. It's a game and platform agnostic technology that optimizes game engines for streaming, in contrast to game streaming services that focus on hardware solutions to stream games. Orion is a game engine level software solution integrated within the game engine itself. Orion can achieve dramatic latency reductions of up to 20% per frame, as well as up to 40% reduction in required bandwidth. So, as I say, it's not at the server level; it's sort of at the game engine level. It helps compress everything, so it makes it easier to stream it.
So, what I'm doing right now is I'm replaying the part where Orion is at work here. This is Doom Eternal on a phone. They don't say which platform they're using, even though interesting, they mentioned Stadia first.
Yeah, they did
when they were talking about this. So they were doing demos of Stadia, like last year that impressed people. So this could be Orion on Stadia, and look at those crazy frames. Like that's nuts.
Well,
So
I'm sorry. One thing we know, Clive, is that I've had some fortunately, I've had some good experiences with Doom on Stadia, so we know that's a possibility.
Yeah. There's no doubt it's, the Doom was the game which they developed the tech for and with, as it were. And we've seen that. If everybody's watched Project Storm's stream earlier in the week of Doom 2016, I'm not talking about Doom Eternal, Doom 2016 just looked ridiculously good.
Yeah,
absolutely
feels good too.
So yeah, I mean, again, this I think it's fair to say, I was going to ask the question, do we think it'll be offered on Stadia? But I know, and Clive knows this too, because he knows the business, because he knows it from experience, that Satya Nadella, I tried to do a show on this recently talking about Satya Nadella. Satya Nadella doesn't care about console war. You know what I mean? That's not his thing. He wants to be a service provider. And Clive, you know about this. I was talking to Storm about this. I was talking to Storm about this earlier, is that Satya Nadella Microsoft was battling Amazon this past fiscal quarter on who was going to have like the higher financials. And Microsoft, everybody thought had it in the bag. Then Amazon came out of nowhere and they did well and was able to do better than expected. And I think kind of like grazed Microsoft or something in that realm. So when people broke down the financials for Amazon, what ended up helping Amazon not have a bad quarter was Minecraft. the Minecraft VR tech is stored on the AWS cloud.
Yeah.
So that threw everybody into a loop. Like, oh my goodness, Microsoft actually helped Amazon edge them out. So they went back to Satya, and Satya said, you know what? Kudos. I mean, look, we're going to make changes apparently because we got to, because we should have beat their asses this quarter. But kudos to them. They have done better at being a service provider to their competition, and that's where we want to be, right? And that's Satya Nadella's mind state. Hence why Sony signed the deal with them for the Azure servers. They would love to hand out the trophies opposed to competing for them. That's Microsoft's way. And they would rather make you pay for the trophy and hand it to you again, opposed to have the running race with you. And in my opinion, I think they're going to license this out to everybody, even though they have access to it now. What is your thoughts, Clive, and panels?
Yeah, I think they'll still. I just think the advantage is that there's low. They'll license it to, it's a game tech, as I said. It's a developer tool, and Satcher's about making money, and they've got to get their 7.5 billion investment somehow returned.
Exactly.
So the tech will be licensed out. I don't think that's an issue. The beauty is you don't have to license it in-house.
Yeah,
you just got it. And not only that, now the R&D department for that tech is also under your roof. Mm-hmm. So, whatever they're doing next or however they're pushing it, then it's available to everybody who's under the Microsoft roof, that tech. So they have an advantage in that, not necessarily an advantage, but they have the fact that they've now got Orion and the Orion R&D team under their roof. And that's clearly going to help them on the kind of the technical side of streaming, along with the blades and stuff like that. I mean, as you touched on it before, and I've sort of mentioned it before, that Amazon. We all know Amazon's one of the biggest companies in the world, but 50% of their profit comes from the cloud services, which is a sort of a kind of a sort of business to business thing. So people just think, oh, Amazon's just a marketplace.
AWS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Amazon's just a marketplace. That's what it is. 50% of Amazon's profit is from the cloud services, AWS, and they're number one in the world. And Google are in the like top 4 or 5, and Microsoft are like number 3 or something like that. So yeah, people sort of underestimate how big Amazon's cloud services provision is.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts before we move on, guys?
Now, I was going to say, it's like the perfect situation having Amazon out there, though, with Google. And we knew this day was going to come. Microsoft, man, who else would you want to have out here? NVIDIA, you know what I'm saying? And even Shadow is trying to make a name for themselves with their cloud-based tech and all that, man. That's all. But I just wanted to say that it is going to be interesting, and I'm happy to be a part of it all. That's all.
I can see Shadow getting bought out.
Yeah.
Maybe by NVIDIA. Maybe because Shadow just don't have the money.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They have the really good tech, I think.
Yeah.
But they just don't have enough servers, to support and that kind of stuff. They need to compete at this level. I mean, they're offering something slightly different. They are offering genuinely virtual PCs.
Exactly.
When I tried Shadow PC, I used it for editing. It just speeded up all my editing and content creation and stuff like that, because not only do you get instant gigabit, upload, so uploading stuff from the cloud straight to them was like instant, rather than trying to download it onto, to my own house and then upload it to the cloud. It was like incredible. So yeah, and they offer something very different. They're not offering themselves as a gaming service. They're offering themselves as virtual PCs, but very powerful virtual PCs that play games at a good level. But you could see them, I'm sure they've got some interesting tech and knowledge and stuff like that. And you could see, I don't know, could be an NVIDIA or something coming along, buying them out, or even Tencent or something like that, just coming along and snapping them up.
Yeah,
I just want to add something here. That's a little bit of history, because Microsoft years and years ago realized that hardware was not the future and software was the future in terms of computing.
Yep.
So they said, all right, go ahead, IBM, continue with your machines. I will focus on software.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They realize now that this thing that we're living right now, when people are selling boxes, and the boxes on the video game industry is the most important thing. So people see how many boxes have been sold. It's not as important as the service.
Yeah.
So Microsoft understood that. Google understood that. Amazon clearly understood that. Sony and Nintendo will try to continue doing their things.
Yeah.
They will survive for the short and medium term, but thinking on 10, 15 years.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah,
be very interesting.
Sony right now will be incredibly successful this generation. Okay, and that's because they have a ridiculous brand loyalty. They have, a massive player base. So they are effectively sort of almost going, we don't have to worry because we could just rely on our laurels, as we say. They're genuinely resting on their laurels, and I think they will be fine. But as Eddie says, in the short to midterm, because it's now you need to be thinking about, okay, but where will gaming be in 5 years or 10 years time? And, I'm not seeing anything from Sony. We know they've done a deal with Microsoft Azure. Because
by the way, Clive, just to add to that, since you mentioned, by far, Amazon is the biggest cloud provider in the world.
They're number one,
by Azure. In third place, we have IBM Cloud. With an annual revenue right now of close to 20 billion. And on fourth place, it's Google Cloud Services.
Yeah, they've swapped around a bit here because I'm looking here at a different site. It's in 2020, and it's got Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Alibaba, and then IBM.
Okay.
Yeah, but but the top those sort of between 3 and 6. They're constantly shifting around in terms of their size. But 1 and 2 are Amazon and Microsoft are a bit further ahead than everybody else. But then 3, 4, and 5, I think I've seen them in different places over the last 12 months in terms of where they are and in terms of size. And I guess it also depends how you measure them as well. Whether you're measured by This one I'm looking for is it says number 3 with an 11 billion annual revenue run rate for Google Cloud Platform. So it depends how you measure them, but yeah, they're all in the top 5. But yeah.
Well, I just put out a comment from our good friend Ray Sherrod. He said, "I'm keeping Serious Sam 4. I don't give a damn what you say, Moss.
Fanboy.
I'm keeping it because I'm Serious Sam fanboy. God bless you." As my grandmother would say, "Bless his heart."
Yeah, and you should keep it, Ray, man. If you're having fun with it and you like what they got, what they offer you, man, keep that thing, man. I wish it was just more polished. I was ready. I still want to go back and play it, man. I really do. But
just make sure, Ray, make sure Salt Ye don't watch you playing that, okay? Please make sure that Salt Ye does not see you playing that game.
Make sure he doesn't have the binoculars and the.
He's too busy making. He's too busy making a video about how Stadia is dead now that Amazon. Cloud gaming is going to be amazing on Amazon.
I'm going to check right now, Clive. In fact, go ahead. I'm gonna check.
I bet he was. I bet he is. Yeah, I bet he is.
All right. So before we close out and go to the to the chat, as we normally do week to week, I wanted to talk about this week and just the game. So let's put this up here. All right. So this is from our good friends at Stadia Source, the number one source for Stadia news. And I did the wrong thing. There we go. All right. So this is Baldur's Gate. Let's talk about it, y'all. Baldur's Gate is now known as Baldur's Late, as you can see in the thing. They changed. Yeah, I know. Yeah. At first, I didn't think it was funny at all, but then I had to get over myself.
I hadn't noticed you highlighted it. He changed it because I knew Google Stadia made a joke about it, but I hadn't realized they changed their Twitter handle.
Exactly. But
that's the best way to do it.
Finn's point. He did say he said we're he didn't guarantee it. He said, hey, look, the way things are going, so they're delaying it a week. We have bad news and good news first. The bad news, we're delaying it till October the 6th. We'll be back later today with the romance and companionship update to pick you up all again. So let me start with Storm. Storm, what are your thoughts? This got delayed again. And on the heels of, because my original thought was, after I got over myself, was, all right, who cares? I'm going to be enjoying the hell out of Serious Sam. But now that I'm not,
man,
does this sting a little bit more? What are your thoughts?
Man, I put a tweet out there, bro. Please don't bring that tweet up. But I said that in a tweet, and I put a hashtag on that bad boy. You know what I mean? All that. So I say the same thing. I was going to be playing Serious Sam, so it didn't matter. It would give me enough breathing room, enough playtime.
Exactly.
To thoroughly enjoy Serious Sam, but there's still so many games to play on Stadia right now that I'm not really gonna miss it, and I don't want to go over my limit on Serious Sam because I do plan to return that, and I think it just makes sense for me as a gamer because they might just say next month that it's one of the pro titles. I don't know, man. We don't know. Here's the deal, though. That's pretty much it. There's a lot to be played. There's a lot of games to be played. There's a lot that's more optimized and ready to go, man. So I'm excited about those games, and the other ones that's coming to the platform.
And in the future, free weekend as well this week, Division 2 free weekend. So plenty of busyness going on.
Yeah, so it doesn't stop the show for me. You know what I'm
saying? Eddie, what are your thoughts? How upset were you, my friend?
Well, at first I was, but then I saw, okay, they're moving from Wednesday to when? All right, to next Tuesday. So it's less than a week.
Yeah.
And with such a short delay, and the explanation they put it here, saying it's because of testing, and some final polishing. I don't care if it's just a simple week, 6 days delay. That's no big deal. It makes me wonder a little bit if it had to do anything with Stadia itself. I know they said they have the explanation here, but I don't know if it's on Stadia side, something of a blog post subject, of a Tuesday blog post subject, and crowd play, crowd choice. I'm just speculating here, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's all right. It's just 6 days.
Yeah. I just off topic real quick, and I don't want to go too far in the weeds with this, but Anders does bring up a good comment. He said, Stadia marketing, stop tweeting about PlayStation 5 pre-orders and get to work. I did a video on this for the Patreon because I was right with you, Anders. Like, I don't like, just because of my marketing experience, I didn't like that. And it was like making my blood boil. But then I had to think, and I said, you know what? Even though I personally don't agree with it and I don't see whatever data they're looking at, now I see why they're doing it. Meg spoke to it because it appeals to this, you guys are the cool gamers. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to just appeal to the gaming community and just say, hey, we're just people that appreciate gaming. But whether that's right,
just like us, everybody,
exactly.
All our community talk about, am I going to get a PlayStation 5 or am I going to get an Xbox? And we talk about games, and so they're, one of the people, as it were. Why wouldn't they also say, yeah, I'm thinking of getting PlayStation 5? As long as you say, if they're doing that, they're also saying every so often, wow, didn't we just do a good job there on Stadia? So they need to mix it up a bit, but there's no harm in reflecting the fact that they're into gaming.
And I think the issue was, Clive, is that these people weren't showing anything for Stadia. And
I think it did lean.
Yeah.
Like I'm defending them, but I would feel.
Oh, I know.
I would feel a bit actually that my argument is slightly weak because you don't see. Oh wow! Like joyous, PUBG is now available. I can't wait to play that. Back in April when they announced it. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of, you want them to back Stadia up when they do. Not every bloody thing, but when they do a good thing, as a gamer, as a casual gamer, for what they, that's what they are. You want them to sort of go, hey, that's cool. We're doing this on Stadia, just as much as they recognise that, everybody's deciding on what console they're going to buy.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm sorry, but I gotta go pick up.
You gotta
my
go.
son.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie, for coming. I know that we've been babbling, and
Oh, it was a great show, man. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate
Luna.
it. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, panel.
All
Bye,
right,
chat.
Eddie.
See you guys around.
Eddie,
Man, be safe, man.
I'm trying
Can
to
I
find.
just touch on something that Anders said as well before that. And he said, and this is, you see, often my annoyance. So I'm not a Stadia shill or whatever, and my annoyance with the community is not so much what they say, but potentially how they say it, or upon what it's based. So look, I've said it before, and I said it today in this chat. Like, Google are engineers; they're not selling. The sellers, and yes, they could have done so many things so much better. Yes, they need good AAA games that everybody knows. They need the Apex, the Rogue companies, the FIFA, and we know FIFA and Madden coming. They need these things, and the sooner the better. But we hope that they're going to be delivering these things. Why wouldn't they? It wouldn't be a good business model if they didn't. But he said something, I noticed his tweet, that it's been a bad week for Stadia. And that's what slightly annoys me about the community, because then he's not the only person who said that. Stadia haven't done anything bad this week.
I'm confused.
It's been a quiet week for
Yeah.
Stadia. That is completely different. Or it's been a noisy week for other
for other people.
platforms, as and when it comes. But that does not mean it's a bad week for Stadia. It's just not Stadia's week this week. They're doing other stuff. Other people are making noise. Sorry.
No. I mean,
look, everybody wants to get on that one.
I want to jump in on that, because to Clive's point, and this is what frustrates me too about the community, where I've had, and I spoke to this, where I've had people, and this is what kind of precipitated my video, where I said, look, guys, if people don't want to listen to you, they don't want to listen to you. We got to get over that. I've had people come to me and say, how aren't you enraged about this? Oh, block, and it is what it is. But here's my thing, to Clive's point. When Stadia dropped Marvel and had NBA 2K21 and all this good stuff was happening, what did that make it a bad week for GFN? I mean, I saw nobody on any podcast, Clive and Storm, say this is a bad week for GFN, because GFN had nothing going on. This is a bad week for Xbox because Xbox has to deal with this parity issue. Nobody said that. But every time something good happens somewhere else, it's automatically a bad week for Stadia, when, for all intents and purposes, Clive, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Stadia, as far as adopted services and saturation, is the number one cloud service out there. I mean, they might be under PS Now, now, say that fast 5 times, no pun intended. Yeah. But opposite of PS Now, GFN Shadow, they're the number one cloud service out there, that's out there in retail. Okay, so was it bad? Was it bad for GFN? And that's the thing that irks me, is that whenever somebody else has a good week, Stadia is automatically has a bad week. When Stadia has a good week, it's just a good week for Stadia, and then it doesn't even last. Then it's like, oh, you know what? Let's reevaluate this. No, actually, it wasn't a good week for Stadia, and that's where I think some of our implicit and maybe our internal bias that we're not even realizing, the way that we're not being balanced in judging Stadia, I think that's where it's coming to the forefront. But those are just my thoughts.
Here's my take. If I were Stadia and I listened to the community, I would understand that at times it's okay. What I'm saying is, it's okay for Stadia to be confused like I am, because sometimes it seems like people are trying to burn Stadia down from within. Now, I said that. You all didn't say that. That's just how it comes off sometimes. Because I'm like, damn, you're gonna highlight this negativity, but you didn't praise the positivity with the same level of enthusiasm. That's not cool. That's not cool. I'm not asking you to ride for Stadia and cap for Stadia, but what I'm saying is, just think about your words. that comes out of your mouth or the text that you put out there on social media, y'all. Like we all get caught up in the moment. But I like to think. I think 3 or 4 times about what I'm about to post and how I'm about to say it. Then I even check for grammatical errors. You know what I'm saying? Before I put it out there. So I'm just saying, y'all. I know what some people are trying to do, and Clive. They're trying to get Stadia to react.
Mm-hmm.
Stadia is not reacting. They're not even reacting to the lion, the cub, and the Serengeti.
These are the
They're going to react to what we're saying in that fashion. Come on, man.
Yep.
And I think also that, you know, what's happening here is it's two ocean liners are racing, and it takes time for them to turn round.
Right.
And sometimes the community feel like it's speedboat. They're expecting speedboat reactions. You know, why hasn't we don't know what Stadia have got planned within the next, 2 months. We don't know what they're doing on their anniversary. Everybody's making their moves. We know there's a big console launch. So of course Xbox are going to go big. Yeah. This is the time for Xbox to make the biggest noise they can, because they've got consoles to sell. They want to sell their Game Pass and everything. They know everyone's focusing on them and PlayStation. So Xbox are bringing out the big guns, doing what they can, because they have to, because the spotlight is on them and PlayStation right now. And those two Goliaths are bashing it out, bringing their big guns, saying, look what I've got, look what I've got, look what I've got. Stadia's doing its own thing. And when it's ready for Stadia to do what they need to do, whether it's on the anniversary or whatever, who knows? But, they'll do it then. And everybody will go, oh, wow, it's amazing. Stadia was fantastic on that day. And then next week, something will happen and they'll forget about it. It's just I
had to get biblical.
It's probably really frustrating for the Stadia team, because they know you work for a company and you've got stuff coming out like in 3 months later, and then you see on this and you're probably going, no, but if only I could tell you, but I can't. It's frustrating. It must be real. I hope it. Well, put it this way: if I'm wrong, everybody can come back and tell me I was wrong, right? And I'd be disappointed if there's not some big, some sort of news. I don't know if it's awesome news, but some sort of, significant shifts, especially coming up to the anniversary, because as Chase touched on it, you want to be on that stage. Phil Harrison wants to be on that stage and say, this is what we've delivered this year. Wow, look at this. And this is what we're, and everybody goes, wow, that is pretty impressive, actually, as a package. Now, November 2020, that's a pretty impressive package you've got there. And plus, these are the big things we'll be delivering next year. That's where they need to be. So wait until, I'd say, November, and then, the anniversary. And, don't judge them entirely, but then judge them a bit more at that point. But at the moment, people are just positioning and moving chess pieces, as Chase would say all the time. It's that kind of thing. And somebody's just made a knight to Queen 5 or whatever, and now it's somebody else's turn to make a move. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a sector of the gaming business that people want to get in on. So, I mean, let's say if me and Storm get together, put $35 together, and come out with a good, come up with a halfway decent streaming platform. Oh, Stadia's dead. The Storm most controller. It's getting ridiculous. And sometimes I think what it is that here's what it is. I got to use this, and Clive and I know Storm as well. For his profession, we've all had to do this at work, because now it's a requirement for you to be a partial psychologist in order to do your daily job. All right. So here's what's going on. People love Stadia. They love playing on it. They love playing on it so much they don't want to play elsewhere. I'm one of those people. But there are other games that they want to play, and when they're not on Stadia, their knee-jerk reaction is, I want it here ASAP. They forget that Stadia just opened up the development to outside people in 2019. They forget all the stuff that we learned from PlayStation and Xbox, that developing games, even porting them, takes several years. They forget all that. They just want the game on Stadia now because they want to play it there now. And what happens is because they don't get that immediately, it's like what Storm said. They want to pressure. They want a guilt trip. If you don't do this now, I'm leaving. but then they're still here the next month and the next. If you don't do this here now, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, man, it's funny how they hear every month, right? Damn.
Yep. And you keep hearing that, and they keep praising these other things in hopes that it'll get them to go. But what they're not realizing is this is the path that they've carved out. Hopefully, some other things in the market will make some things happen faster. But us doing this revolving door of, hey, you better do this or I'm going, and you're still here, is not going to change anything. And what we got to do is, because we're upset, we can't just internalize that and turn that into, well, anything that happens good elsewhere is automatically bad for Stadia, because then I hate to say it, but then we become no more different than Yongye. And that's the truth.
Yeah, Yongye, I mean, he, it feeds off the like most people do, the almost a sort of tabloid approach to everything.
Yeah.
It's either sort of black or it's white. It's either it's binary. There's no grays. There's no, Xbox had its strategy from 3 years ago, and we're seeing the culmination of that strategy from 3 years ago. And part of that is the purchase of Bethesda and all that kind of stuff. And that's a 3 year. They've just been building to that. And they just so happen to have got that point. Google's got its strategy and is building over a period of time. Amazon, we've just seen, have got their strategy and is building over the time. These are long-term strategies. They're not like, oh shit, somebody's gone and done something this week, we better go and do something next week. That's not how it works. Like, that is no way to do your business. Sitting next to running two market stalls next to each other, and the one going, oh look, they're selling apples. Quick, get some apples and some grapes. Oh, they're selling bananas. Quick, get some apples, bananas, and some peaches. But that's not how it works. It's like you've already planned what fruit you're going to sell. Yeah. Sure, you'll adapt it slightly over time. Yeah. And they've got their plans and they'll adapt it slightly over time. But it's not sudden big gear changes.
Yeah.
However, having said that, I am making the assumption that the people who are at Google and the people who run Google Stadia know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm putting faith in the fact that they know what they're doing and they've got the backing to do what they need to do. Now, who's running it? Well, you've got Phil Harrison.
Yep.
You've got Jade Raymond. You got Shannon Sudstill. You got Erin. Hoffman.
Erin Hoffman.
Hoffman. Yeah. You've got these people know gaming from every aspect of gaming: publishing, exec producing, launching one of the most successful consoles of all time, running, being one of the first Westerners to run a major Japanese company on its kind of non-Japanese, including Japan, because he ran studios, Sony Studios, worldwide, global studios. So I'm just a casual gamer who I happen to have also worked in the games industry, know a little bit about it, and worked in the media industry for God knows how long. So I know a little bit about it, but I don't have that kind of level of experience. But having worked in it, I know they know what they're doing. And if none of this comes to fruition, then I will seriously question my own assumptions and faith in basic business knowledge.
Well, Clive, we have. I'll only speak to it at this degree. We've had confirmation that Google knows what they're doing, and they're fully aware of what we want to know, and so they're cognizant of all this. They know that. They've just made the decision to keep things close to their vest. It could be a strategic thing because look at what Amazon did, for crying out loud. They did a Google 2.0 or Google version B with Lunar, right? So maybe they think this is the smarter strategy to keep things close to the vest at the risk of less transparency to us. But to Ash's point, what we got to do is make a decision. This is early access, whether they market it that way or not. Yeah. The basic feature sets are not there. This is early access. With that being said, are you okay with the lack of transparency because you have the faith that Clive has, or I have, or Storm has? Or if you're not, you got to make a decision because they're not changing it no time soon. You got to make a decision. And us coming back to the soapbox, you better do this or you're going to close down. Well, look at Lunar. It's $5.99. You're going to be destroyed from the internals. You know, that is not going to work. And it's only causing a rift with your fellow community members. So
yeah, Ash's here is completely right. Yeah, we know.
No, what Ash is saying is right, though.
Yeah, we've got to work on the communication, but that doesn't,
that wasn't geared toward that.
Yeah, that doesn't belie what's going on tangibly behind the scenes that we don't know. Yeah. And you know, we want, you know, most of the Stadia community feel like that because, you know, we want it to do well. And we're told that, you know, because maybe it's call it a stumbled launch, maybe it was their planned launch, but to the perception of the consumer and the marketing and press, a stumbled launch, whatever. And so that feeds a certain doubt, and then that doubt is kind of, the flames of that doubt are sort of, you know, petrol thrown on it by the Yongyays and the press and the misinformation, and maybe, and then you slowly, that doubt starts, if you don't have the faith, you know, that doubt starts to creep in. Oh, maybe Stadia will shut down, maybe, and the irrational starts seeping in to the brain, because we want Stadia to succeed, and then we're beginning to believe all the kind of the hype and the stuff about, yet our own eyes will demonstrate, you know, say you know, the opposite. We're at 80. I think in the article about Luna, they quoted Stadia. They had to go back and change it, as it turned out, on Engadget, but they quoted Stadia having 90 games. Now, I don't know whether that means the time it launches or roughly. I think we're around about 80 to 90 games at the moment.
Yeah, I think we're
close to 90.
Yeah, we're close
to 90.
And interesting enough, Engadget had to go back and correct that.
Exactly. Yes.
They did an update at the end of the page. So we're at 90 games. By the end of the year, we're probably at 120, as they promised.
Yeah, as they promised.
You know, Games Pass is 150, you know, plus. So that's not far off, in fairness, considering Xbox has the advantage of a massive back catalogue, you know, that helps that. So, you know, when you stop and look at the package by the end of the year, and you know, and hopefully the EA titles, we know they're coming, so that's not really an issue. It's just about when. But I'm not worried about that. The fact that they are coming, it's not a doubt, because we've been told they're coming. Plus 2 unnamed things, which makes things exciting, because we don't know what those unnamed EA titles are. So we know there's 5 EA titles minimum coming. So there's lots of, you know, and plus all the noise around the big AAA launches that will be coming out this season, you know, with Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, and his Cyberpunks, and, you know, Watchdog Legions and your Far Cry. They're all going to be there. So slowly but surely, if you just stop a minute, stop worrying about the past, look at the present, come the end of this year, you go, actually, we've got a pretty good library, really, 100 odd. Plus growing, plus if Uplay Plus comes, we know it's 50. And somebody, Resurrector, said he thinks, you know, Uplay trying to get on every platform. Well, yeah, I think that is their strategy, because I'm sure I read they were doing a deal with Xbox, bringing some titles to Xbox anyway, at Games Pass. So yeah, that's clearly their strategy. We know EA Play, that EA Studios, the head of EA Studios, says that their strategy is a multi-platform strategy. So that means not only developing games that can play multi-platform, so you can cross-play with your mates, whether they're on Xbox, PlayStation, or Stadia, whatever, but it also means, you know, making the games available on all the platforms as well. So that I can see a time when EA comes to Stadia, or EA Play is on as a channel on, you know, Luna, whatever. I can see that, not necessarily in the near future, but certainly you could see that's the way things are going. So I just say, you know, to a lot of the community, get a bit kind of, and I don't mean it in an offensive way, but a bit bipolar about it. You know, just chill, give it time, wait for Christmas, literally. I mean, metaphorically, and you know, and if Santa disappoints, then come back and tell me, and I'll say, yeah, I don't think, but you know, you're right. I would have expected some more news by now, not now, but by the end of the year. You know,
by the end of the year. No,
so
Ash
give it the end of the year. You know?
Yeah, Ashes is absolutely right, and I was talking to the more extremist reactionary. Not definitely, Ashes hit it right on the nail.
Yeah, communication is an issue. We know that. So, but accept that, learn that, know that. You know.
Yep. Yep, it is what it comes with the territory. All right, so we got to wrap up. I'm sorry, guys, we can't do questions today because the wife is breathing down my neck. However, what we will do is we'll answer any questions that you have. Please leave us a yappa, or leave us a live phone call, leave us a message on the phone system. Let me put those back out there, and we'll answer them this Saturday on this very same channel where we will be doing SML Live. So let's close on out. Hey, Clive, let the people know where they can find you at.
Well, you can find me at YouTube /Clive Illenden as per there. Stadia Monday Night Chat every 10 p.m. Monday night, UK time, 10 p.m. I've got an opinion. Come hear it. And then the weekend I stream over on the YouTube Lord Kensal of Stadia channel. And I'm not sure what I'll be streaming, but I'll be streaming there. And I'll be on Rockstars at Night with Rock on Stadia Rock's channel on Friday night, doing whatever collection of games. We're hoping to mix it up a bit on there with a variety of, multiplayer games. So everybody could join in.
Awesome. Storm. I'm sorry, Storm. Me and Clive were chatting back and forth, and we left you in the corner, man.
No. I was just gonna say this right here, man, because I'm going to Twitter. I think I might have to put a poll out there, my very first poll, man, because I might have to prove you wrong, MM2K. I think Stadia has launched. We keep having these discussions every week, man. I think it's launched, and I think that the advanced features have not come to light yet. But the basic features are there. But we'll talk more about that on SML podcast on Saturday, y'all.
Yeah, we can put that up. We can make a new segment.
Yes, sir.
The great debate. We can make it.
You know it, man. You know I love debates. But so you could definitely find me, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like MM said earlier, he's no longer on the Scrampunks podcast that I used to love to plug every week, and I'm not either. But no love lost though, y'all. Remember that. No love lost. But I can tell you that Sunday I will be doing the podcast with Snow Bunny 426 on Snow Bunny Gaming. We do that every Sunday at 6 Eastern time. It's called Ying Meets Yang of Gaming Podcast, so YMYOG, and it's a pretty good.
Not Young Yay then.
No Young. Hey, Young was out there. He was out there talking about Xbox today. Xbox buying Sega or something like that. I told you I was going to go see what he was doing. But he's occupied with Xboxes and the acquisitions and stuff that was made. But you can find me there. You can definitely find me Saturday on this channel, Stadia Dosage, on the SML Live podcast. We will be having some updates for you all who are wondering about this giveaway that we keep talking about. So we're going to be in the lab. And then, I might be forgetting something, but you can find me on Twitter at the Nephophiliac, running my mouth. All right. And here on YouTube at youtube.com/Project Storm.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming in, for participating, for listening. This was a fantastic panel, man. It's a great look. It's not bad for Stadia for anybody. This is a great era for gaming because this is only going to elevate the competition. So definitely, and check out these great people, these great content creators, Clive and Project Storm, definitely. And with that said, you know where to find me right here. That's it. You all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.
Luna.